Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Boost podcast.
The podcast where real English meets real life. I am James.
And I am Emma. And James, before we start, I have a confession.
A confession. This sounds serious.
Last week, I stayed up until 2 in the morning for 3 nights in a row.
3 nights? Why?
Honestly, the first night was a show I was watching. The second night, I couldn't stop scrolling. And the third night, I was trying to finish work.
And how did you feel by day 3?
Like my brain was wrapped in a thick blanket. I couldn't focus. I kept reading the same sentence 5 times. And at one point, I completely forgot a very simple English word, one I use every day.
That is both funny and a little terrifying.
And the worst part, I thought I was fine. I kept telling myself, I am managing. But my brain was telling a very different story.
And that brings us to today's topic. What actually happens to your brain when you don't sleep enough?
Because most of us know sleep is important. We have heard it 100 times, but knowing and feeling are two different things. Today we want to go a little deeper, the science, the real effects, and what you can actually do about it.
And as always, our vocabulary expert Olivia will join us to break down the key words and phrases, so you grow your English and your understanding at the same time.
Okay, James, let's start with something that surprised me when I first learned it. Sleep is not rest.
What do you mean? I always thought sleep was basically the off button for your brain.
That is what most people think. But actually, your brain is extremely busy while you sleep. It is doing some of its most important work.
Really? Like what?
Think of your brain during the day like a very busy office. Papers everywhere, emails coming in, people talking, information flying in all directions.
Yes, that sounds like a normal day.
Now imagine that every night a cleaning crew comes in. They organize the files, they throw away what is not needed, they repair the equipment, they prepare everything for the next day.
And sleep is the cleaning crew.
Exactly. While you sleep, your brain is consolidating memories, taking everything you learned during the day and moving it into long-term storage. It is repairing cells, it is clearing out waste products that build up in your brain during the day. It is resetting your emotional system.
So when you don't sleep, the cleaning crew never comes, and the office becomes more and more chaotic.
Day after day, and at first you don't notice, but slowly, the chaos starts affecting everything. Your thinking, your mood, your words, your decisions.
I think many English learners will relate to this in a very specific way. Have you ever noticed that your English gets worse when you are tired?
Absolutely. When I am well rested, words come easily, sentences flow, I can find the right phrase without thinking too hard. But when I am tired, everything slows down. I hesitate, I forget vocabulary. My sentences become short and simple because I just don't have the energy to construct something more complex.
And this is not just a feeling. There is real science behind it. When you are sleep deprived, the part of your brain responsible for language, for finding words, forming sentences, understanding what others say, it does not work at full capacity.
So if you are learning English and you are chronically tired, you are making the process significantly harder for yourself than it needs to be.
This feels like a good moment for Olivia. Olivia, can you take us through some key vocabulary from this section?
Absolutely. Let's look at 4 important words from what Emma and James just discussed. First, consolidating. Emma said your brain consolidates memories during sleep. To consolidate means to make something stronger, to bring separate pieces together into one solid whole. After studying new vocabulary, sleep helps consolidate those words in your memory. At B2 level, consolidate sounds much more precise than just saying store or keep. Next, chronically. Emma used the phrase chronically tired. Chronic means something that continues for a long time, not a one-time problem, but a pattern. Chronically means regularly, over a long period. Many people are chronically sleep deprived without even realizing it. This is a strong B2 word that makes your English sound significantly more sophisticated. Third, deprive and deprived. James said sleep deprived. To deprive someone of something means to take it away, to prevent them from having it. Many parents feel sleep deprived during the first year of a baby's life. Very common and very natural in health conversations. And finally, construct. Emma said she doesn't have the energy to construct complex sentences when tired. To construct means to build something carefully and deliberately, piece by piece. When I'm tired, I can't construct long sentences in English. I just use short, simple ones. Back to you both.
Thank you, Olivia. The word chronically really stuck with me because I think a lot of people are chronically tired and they have just accepted it as normal.
Yes, it becomes their baseline. They forget what it actually feels like to be truly rested.
Let's talk about the specific effects. Because I think when people hear sleep is important, they nod and then do nothing. But when you understand what is actually happening inside your brain, it changes things.
Okay, effect number 1, your memory breaks down.
We talked about memory consolidation, but let's make it real. Imagine you spent 1 hour studying English vocabulary today. New words, new phrases, real effort.
And then you sleep only 4 hours. What happens to that vocabulary?
Research shows that poor sleep can reduce memory consolidation by up to 40%. So almost half of what you worked so hard to learn, your sleeping brain didn't have enough time to properly store it.
It is like writing something in the sand just before a wave comes. The effort was real, but the wave takes most of it away.
That is a painful image for anyone who has studied hard and felt like nothing stuck.
Effect number 2, your emotional regulation collapses.
Emotional regulation. That is a B2 phrase. What does it mean simply?
It means your ability to manage your feelings, to stay calm when something is frustrating, to not overreact, to see a difficult situation clearly,
And when you don't sleep, this system breaks down.
dramatically. One study found that sleep-deprived people react to negative situations with up to 60% more emotional intensity. 60%.
So the argument that felt massive at 11 at night, after poor sleep, might have been a very small thing that your exhausted brain turned into a crisis.
Exactly. And this connects to English learning in a surprising way. When you make a mistake in English and you are tired, you feel much worse about it. You feel stupid. You feel like you are not improving. You want to quit.
But that feeling is not the truth. That is just your sleep-deprived brain catastrophizing.
Effect number 3, your decision-making becomes dangerously poor. Studies show that after 17 hours without sleep, which is not unusual for a busy person, your cognitive performance is equivalent to having a blood alcohol level of 0.05.
So driving tired is genuinely similar to driving after drinking?
You take more risks. You miss obvious problems. You say yes when you should say no. Many people have made decisions late at night that felt very clear and woke up the next morning thinking, why did I do that?
Your morning brain and your exhausted night brain are almost different people. Olivia, time for vocabulary again.
Perfect timing. Let's break down 3 key words from this section. First, regulation and regulate. Emma talked about emotional regulation, your ability to manage your emotions. To regulate means to control something and keep it at the right level. A thermostat regulates temperature. Sleep regulates your emotional responses. Without enough sleep, it becomes very hard to regulate your reactions to stress. Next, catastrophizing. James used this word. To catastrophize means to imagine the worst possible outcome, to turn a small problem into a disaster in your mind. I know I am catastrophizing, but I can't stop worrying about it. This is a wonderful B2 word for talking about anxiety and overthinking, very useful in real conversation. And finally, equivalent. Emma said poor sleep performance is equivalent to a certain alcohol level. Equivalent means equal in effect, a different thing that produces the same result. Being sleep deprived is roughly equivalent to being mildly intoxicated. Your reactions slow down and your judgment suffers. Back to you.
Thank you, Olivia. Catastrophizing is such a useful word and such a real experience.
Very real. Okay, we have talked about what happens. Now let's talk about what to do. Because this episode is not just about making people feel guilty for sleeping badly. Fine and need.
Exactly. We want practical steps, real things you can actually change.
Tip 1. Protect your last hour before bed.
This is the most important tip. The hour before you sleep is like the landing of a plane. Everything needs to slow down and come in gently. If you land a plane too fast, it crashes.
And most people's bedtime routine is basically crashing the plane. Screens until the last second, bright lights, stressful content, checking messages.
The blue light from screens tells your brain it is still daytime, stay alert, and your brain listens. It delays the release of melatonin, the chemical that helps you fall asleep.
So a very simple change. Put your phone in another room 30 minutes before you sleep. Not just face down on the bed. Another room.
And replace it with something that genuinely relaxes you. Reading a physical book, gentle stretching, a calm conversation, herbal tea, something that tells your body, we are landing now, it is safe to slow down.
Tip 2. Be consistent with your sleep and wake times. Even on weekends, your body has an internal clock. Scientists call it the circadian rhythm. It works best when it knows exactly when to expect sleep and when to expect waking.
When you sleep at 11 on weekdays and 2 on weekends, you confuse your clock. Researchers call this social jet lag. Your body feels like it is constantly traveling between time zones without going anywhere. Even when you sleep enough hours, you wake up unrefreshed because the timing is inconsistent.
One simple rule. Try to wake up at the same time every day. Your body will naturally adjust over a week or two.
Tip 3. Use your English learning time wisely in relation to sleep. The hour before sleep is a surprisingly good time to review vocabulary, not to learn new complex things, but to gently revisit what you already know.
Because your brain consolidates what it saw last before sleep. Words you review quietly before bed have a better chance of moving into long-term memory.
Keep it calm, no stressful grammar tests, just gentle review. A few words, a soft podcast, a few lines of something you enjoy. Then sleep does the consolidation work for free.
And in the morning, after good sleep, your brain has finished its work. Morning is the best time for new difficult learning, new vocabulary, complex grammar, real listening practice. Morning brain for new things, evening brain for review, sleep for consolidation.
Let's bring Olivia back one final time. Olivia, the vocabulary from our tips section?
With pleasure. 3 final words for today. First, circadian rhythm. James mentioned this. Your body's internal 24-hour clock that controls when you feel awake and when you feel sleepy. Keeping a consistent sleep schedule helps your circadian rhythm stay strong. Shift workers often struggle because their jobs disrupt this rhythm completely. A very impressive B2 term in any health conversation. Next, consistent and consistency. James emphasized being consistent with sleep times. Consistent means doing something the same way regularly. Consistency is the habit of being consistent. Consistency is more important than intensity when building a habit. Or, she saw real improvement in her English because of her consistency. 10 minutes every single day. And finally, consolidation. We used this word at the start, and it came back in the tips. Consolidation is when your brain takes new information and makes it stick permanently. Sleep is essential for memory consolidation. Without it, new learning fades quickly. A sophisticated word that works beautifully in both academic and everyday conversation. Back to you both.
Thank you, Olivia. So let's bring it all together. A quick recap.
Your brain is not resting when you sleep. It is working, consolidating memories, clearing waste, repairing cells, resetting your emotional system.
When you don't sleep enough, your memory breaks down, your emotional regulation collapses, your decision-making becomes impaired, and your language ability, including your English, gets significantly worse.
And the 3 practical tips. 1. Protect your last hour before bed. Slow the landing, no screens, something calm and gentle.
2. Be consistent with your sleep and wake times. Your body loves rhythm. Give it 1.
3. Use sleep strategically for your English learning. Review gently before bed. Learn new things in the morning. Let your sleep do the consolidation work for free.
Your brain is an extraordinary tool, but like any tool, it needs maintenance. And sleep is the most fundamental maintenance of all.
Now, your challenge for today. Tonight, try one small change from this episode. Put your phone in another room 30 minutes before bed, or review 5 English words quietly before you sleep. Just one small thing.
And write it in the comments. Tell us, what is your biggest sleep challenge? Are you a late night scroller? A just one more episode person? We want to know.
And choose one word from today: consolidate, chronically, catastrophize, circadian, equivalent, and make one honest sentence about your own life. That is how a word becomes yours.
If this episode helped you, please like it, subscribe, and share it with one friend who always says they will sleep more, but never does.
This was the English Boost podcast. I am Emma.
And I am James. Sleep well tonight. Your brain will thank you, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Take care.